All right, so we have Owen Shroyer next. He unfortunately was not able to make it in person, but he's going to zoom in on screens. So he'll talk for about 5 minutes, and then he's going to open the floor for questions. So I just wanted to give you a heads up so that you can prepare your questions for him.
For Zoom.
Is that it? Am I a giant head on a screen right now? Is this the giant Owen Shroyer head on a giant screen in front of the audience? I am the all-powerful face on the screen. You must listen to me now. If I say take a vaccine, you will say how many? If I say wear a mask, you will say how many? That's how it works, right? With the big light box here. No, actually, rebels with a cause. It's funny that I've never heard that before, but it really rings true, doesn't it? Everybody probably in this audience in some way, shape, or form has been a rebel in their life. I certainly know I have. And I think that we've all had something dormant inside of us. Call it the American birthright, call it the American soul, the American spirit that just yearns to be free. But it's more than that. It's practically applied. Just not having government interference in our lives, just being able to live our lives freely. You just heard the last guest talking about this. That is our birthright. And somewhere down the line, we've forgotten that, we've become complacent, and we just let this metastasizing, cancerous government continue to grow and become more corrupt and find new ways to intervene and interfere in our lives and try to dictate our future. And we're sick of it. And we're finally starting to get up on our feet and decide we're going to do something about this. We're going to restore the republic. And I see all kinds of great things happening when it comes to this. It's events like this. I was at an event last night. Part of the reason why I couldn't be in town for this, unfortunately, but now I'm a big giant head on the screen, and I think that's kind of fun. Hope somebody sends me a picture of this, by the way. I'd like to see what the giant Owen Shroyer head looks like. I'm imagining, is it like in one of the cartoons where you have to like sing to the giant head in the sky in Rick and Morty? Or is it something more like the 5 Minutes of Hate? You know, like what is the vibe of the giant head on the screen? But seriously, I was at an event last night, and that's why I couldn't be there in person. Unfortunately, though, I know you guys are having a good time. I saw the Alex Jones impersonation from the great Matt Baker with the characters on the stage there. That was pretty funny. I saw my friend Harrison Smith speak as well. And I was at an event last night. It was a movie premiere of a movie called The Great Awakening, and it's a documentary film by Mickey Willis and many others. And so we had a bit of a red carpet premiere last night, and Alex was there and I was there. And I mean, we're talking big names in what we are calling the Great Awakening, and that was happening in Austin, Texas. And you guys are also having this event in Nashville, Tennessee, or just outside with a bunch of great patriots as well. Now, 10 years ago, activities like this weren't even happening, really. They weren't even happening. This brand, this genre, this type of a gathering, this type of a group of people wasn't really happening. And now it's happening in more places than one in a single weekend. And so that right there shows you that there is a new growing camaraderie. There is a new growing curiosity of, hey, how can we peacefully restore this republic? You know, we've got families, we've got friends, we've got futures, we've got goals, we've got dreams. And then we see the globalists, we see this political infrastructure being built like a cage on top of us, telling us what we can and can't do, wanting to dictate our future, saying, oh, your freedoms are just too toxic, and your freedoms are just too dangerous, and so you can't fly on airplanes, and you can't have combustion engines, and you can't eat steak, and this is the world. You can't own property, and this is the world they expect us to accept. And they hope that we're stupid enough, they hope that we're naive enough to walk into their trap and become their slaves. Because that's really what this is. But see, we're smarter than that. And you know what? We had to go through it. The world had to go through it with COVID to see this tyrannical system that's being built. But we saw it. We saw it applied. We saw it applied in our lives. We saw it applied in our politics and our economy. and we got a taste of it, and we spit it out, and it was disgusting. But you know they're gonna come back around. You know they're gonna come back around and hit us with either another pandemic or potentially a cyber attack like they've been building up. I noticed that China is in the news a lot. Apparently 2 ships almost ran into each other. That's almost impossible for that to happen, so something else is going on. China is using weather weapons to smash into Guam. So if they try to pull some event or a cyber attack and they say, oh, the government's here to save you, don't worry, we're here to save you, just do what we say, do what our controlled media on television says, take whatever drugs we tell you to take, go wherever we tell you to go, you'll be fine. We care about you. No, I don't think so. No, I think we're smarter than that, and I don't think that's gonna work this time. But you know that they're going to try it. But hey, we're rebels with a cause now. Rebels without a cause, a little harder to gather, a little harder to get on the same page, move in the right direction together. But rebels with the cause, this is what we're doing now. And I think we're starting to see the results. And believe me, I'm as impatient as anybody, folks, but we've gone from having a virtually useless Congress as far as individuals that understand the true issues that resonate with us and the average American now, to now having actually a couple dozen in there that actually say it like it is and have the same spirit that we have. And I think that trend is going to continue. It's okay to question elections. Why wouldn't you? The government's lying to us about everything else. They just put in place a guy that can't even walk, can't even talk. Do I have to say that he can't even wipe his own ass? Let me know what's going on here. So the truth is, we are waking up. I see it in all kinds of different aspects. I see it in the fact that, I'm one of the most banned Americans out there when it comes to being able to access internet platforms, and yet still I get recognized all the time when I go out. So the message of truth is still getting out. And that's what they've been trying to silence, folks, but they can't stop us all. They can't stop us all from gathering. And I do want to take some questions from the audience. The giant head on the screen will talk to the small people today. I would like to hear from some of the audience members and what they think about this, because how many people in the audience, let's say there was an event like this 10 years ago or even 5 years ago, how many people in the audience would have been interested in attending something like this? How many people in the audience would have brought their families to something like this or considered something like this? How many people in the audience 10 years ago didn't even know who their local representative was, but today they might? They don't even know all these different bureaucracies. They have all these rulings over them, but now they understand how the system of oppression against the United States people works. How many people would say, yeah, you know what, the FBI is wholly corrupt. It probably just needs to be totally shut down. How many people would have said that 10 years ago? How many people in this room would say that today? So just that right there shows you that the awakening is on. And it's a lot of rebels with a cause now. And so we look a lot of different ways, we talk a lot of different ways, but we're starting to understand the common goal here, and we're starting to understand the common thread here, which is we have a birthright of freedom, and we're not gonna let that be stolen from us, and you're not gonna trick us into giving it up with viruses or wars or pandemics or cyber attacks or weather or climate. It's not gonna work. You're not gonna trick us into giving us our freedoms, because America has to stand for freedom for the entire world to see. That's the revolutionary idea. We don't need government, you don't need government, you don't need royalty. You can be independent, self-sufficient, and self-governing. That's what freedom is all about. And that's why America must be preserved. And that's what we've come to understand, and that's the fight now that we're in. With so many different groups, man. You've got big tech, you've got big pharma, you've got big government, but we know who the enemies of freedom are, and now they're having to deal with a lot of rebels with a cause, and a lot of big personalities and big people that realize what it's really all about.
The lights are on.
Freedom in the West. So, guys, I'm assuming that, because I can't actually see the people there, I'm staring at the back room right now. I'm looking at the people pushing the buttons and moving the wires and controlling the levels. Like if I start to go off and start saying stuff that they don't like, they're gonna shut me down. I see them all right there. Oh, they're behind you actually. Oh, there's everybody. Okay, so I see the stage now. That's where the Alex Jones impersonators, and there's the big head on the screen. All right, so yeah, if you guys want to start taking the mic around, I'm assuming I'll just be able to pick up their audio.
Owen, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Yes.
This is Alex Jones. You're doing a great job, Owen. Just gonna stand in for a little bit here. I'm gonna take over there. I'm gonna take a break, okay? We've got Matt Baker here. He's gonna go around and talk to people. All right, everybody. Matt Baker here. Who would like to talk to Owen Shroyer? Come on. Don't be shy now. There we go. We got Chris here.
You have a good Alex Jones impression, by the way.
Of course I do. This is the real Alex Jones. The real Alex Jones has been taken by aliens to put it underground base. Anyway, here we go. What's your name?
Caitlin, I'm from Massachusetts, Boston.
Caitlin, Massachusetts, Boston. What would you like to do? Oh, thank you. Well, we're all about Owen right now. He's the big head. So, what would you like to ask the main man?
I just wanted to say thank you to Owen because I started being more conservative. My husband is conservative, but when Donald Trump was running and I was confused why everyone hated him, I started looking into it, and that's kind of where the ball went rolling, and then I came onto the InfoWars. And I just love your message, and it's inspiring. 2 weeks to the day after Joe Biden was inaugurated, I got a knock on my door from the
Yesterday.
FBI.
Yeah.
I'm a mom of 3 little boys. I was
Good
actually
last
6
night.
peacefully protesting. And
Yeah, oh yeah,
just,
some of the
like,
last
after
ones you did.
watching all of you guys, it inspires me more to basically say, screw you, like I'm gonna fight harder, you know? So just thank you. Thank
People
you.
media.
So, okay. Well, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, President. You guys are all amazing. Anybody else? Come on now. Come on now, people. We got one over there. You want to go?
Yeah.
You got a question over there?
I absolutely do.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up, Owen? Yeah, it's U-Haul. I'm also filming this too. So how you doing? Can you hear me? Okay. Are you going to be there August 12th for his event? Since you couldn't be here today, so are you going to make things up since you're going to be here?
Oh, calling Owen Shroyer.
August 12th at Vulcan Gas Company for the awards, the American Liberty Awards.
Oh yeah. I'll be there.
Yeah, you got
Look,
it. Yeah.
Alex Jones is out of town. Harrison Smith is here. It was a turn of events. If you think about it, somebody has to man the ship over there.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
They will get pillaged by freaks. Owen's doing God's work. So, anybody else?
All right. The beautiful, the incredible, the amazing.
Yeah.
Hi Owen, it's Erin Joe. So
Oops.
what can we do
It's hard to
besides talk about what we want to see in our country, and
It's hard to see your
what
face.
do
It's
we
hard to
do besides just talk about things?
Oh, there he is.
What's the action that we need to do?
Great question. So I get this question a lot, and it's a great question. And the truth is that I don't have the answer. If you're asking that question, then you know the answer. You might not know it yet, but somewhere inside of you, you know the answer. I'll use myself as an example. I was in sports media 10 years ago. It's funny, 2013 is when I actually made the switch from sports to politics. And, here I am working at InfoWars. But I made that decision. I said, I don't want to do sports anymore. It's not rewarding for me. I'm not getting anything out of it. More importantly, I had the red pill awakening experience. I was like, what's going on in this country? I've got to do something here. So for me, I was already in media. I was already hosting talk shows. I was already involved in reporting. So for me, it was easy. It was, okay, I'm going to go into politics. I'm going to speak truth to power. I'm going to change hearts and minds.
Teach
I'm
our own,
going to use
Lori.
information to wake people up and change the world. So for me, it was easy. The answer is going to be different for every person. For some people, it's going to be about getting involved locally, whether that means getting involved in city council or local politics, running for state office, maybe running for a representative, getting on a school board, anything like that, thinking local. For some, it might just be as simple as changing their lifestyle, finding ways to not fund these companies and these groups that hate us. I mean, look at some of these boycotts that are going. Sometimes it can be as simple as just boycotting. For some, literally, you might just start farming. You might just say, you know what, I'm just going to become completely self-reliant, and I'm going to make sure that I can also provide simple stuff for my neighbors if they need it, produce, eggs. So the answer is going to be different for everybody. And I think the fact that you're asking that question means that somewhere you already know the answer. You're searching for the answer. But yeah, you're right. It's not just going to be people talking. It's going to be people actually getting involved.
I'll be on the lookout, Lori.
Look at how many members of Congress we have now that actually understand what's going on, that actually understand how corrupt the FBI is. They understand the aspects of the deep state. They understand the World Economic Forum, what we call the globalists. I'm not sure if there were any that were in Congress. I mean, you've had Ron Paul for years, but outside of that, there haven't been too many outspoken men and women in Congress that call this stuff out. Well, now there's a handful of them. So maybe next time, after 2024, maybe we have even more of them. And instead of having a debt ceiling vote that Kevin McCarthy calls a victory, that more Republicans vote for than Democrats, we'll have no Republicans vote for these ridiculous clown bills. They just voted, what was it, like 6 months ago, I think, they just gave Biden like $4 trillion in some omnibus bill that Kevin McCarthy gave over to Joe Biden. So, I mean, if it's getting involved politically to stop stuff like that from happening, everybody's answer is going to be differently. For some, even just, oh my gosh, my kids are in the public school, this indoctrination, I've got to take them out, I've got to teach them the right way. So the answer is going to be different for everybody. The fact that you're asking yourself the question means that you're already searching for it. And I think that you'll find that answer. You'll find that answer in your life. If anything, God will open up a window, a door for you, and it'll just be so obvious. You'll say, yes, this is my time. This is how I can change things. This is how can I get involved.
Well, I gotta say, she's actually one of the performers here, so she stopped talking and started singing, if I'm correct, right? Do you have any other ideas for us? Maybe you could tell us.
Well, I just think about how this country got formed, and a bunch of people who were, maybe some of them, even working for the king, maybe some of them were born on this soil. They said, what the king is doing to us isn't right. Let's make our own country. And they got together and they started talking and they started writing some letters and they started having some debates. And they wrote a document that they wrote our founding documents.
Will do, Lori.
And they sent it out. And they're like, we are a sovereign nation now. And if we've lost that sovereignty, what can we get together and write to say we're taking it back? And to do what they did and to say we're restoring these documents now and we all agree, like the modern day founders, to refound the republic.
Amen. Sounds good. Let's go. All right, who else wants to go?
Secession might be on the ballot in Texas by 2028, so watch out for more stuff like that.
All right, Owen, we got one more guy for you.
Hey, Owen, one question about the upcoming election and voting in general. I've been having a lot of conversations over the last 2 days about people that realized that the election, that there was cheating, manipulation, and both sides of the paradigm will argue that, on one side Trump was put in by Russia, on the other side they're cheating. We know that there's cheating in every single election, right? We know that. So what is your thought on whether we should be voting in general with a system we know is being manipulated? And then secondarily, what's the virtue of voting if we know that it's being manipulated? Just your thoughts on that.
This is a really tough thing to tackle intellectually, and so people can have different opinions, but my opinion of it is you still have to vote. Even if I don't think my vote counts, or I think the whole thing is rigged with some electronic system or what have you, I still will go vote every time. And believe me, I don't like waiting in lines, but I'll still go vote every time because it's about showing faith in the process that when it's done right, it works. That's what it's about. And in fact, I would argue that the Democrats want you to not vote. I think the Democrats would love to have a system where there are no votes and nobody votes. And so they would love to have this voter apathy take over, which I completely understand. The great Rush Limbaugh predicted this for many years, that really the Democrats want to end elections. They want to end the votes. And I think if they ever did try to do that, voter apathy would be one of their biggest weapons. Hey, people don't vote. People don't want to vote. They don't trust the vote. So we'll just run the whole thing for them. So I think it's important to vote just to show that there's faith in the practice. There's faith in the system, and when it's done right, we have faith in it, and we don't want to break that system. There's another reason why you should vote. A lot of local offices, when it comes to the Republicans, if you say you're emailing your local representative, or, I mean, this probably goes for the Democrats too. I just talked to Republicans about this, Republican insiders, I don't know about Democrats. I'm assuming it's the same though. If you call your local representative or email or send a message to your local representative and they keep seeing your name, well, they're eventually going to look up and they can find out, does this person vote? Has this person voted? Does he vote Republican? Does he vote Democrat? And so they can find all this information out. If they're getting messages from you and they see that you've never voted, then they're going to delete that message because they don't care. But if they see you're actively voting, they might actually respond to your vote. And I think as corrupt as it is, it's probably as corrupt as we think it is, maybe worse, but it also is probably easier to defeat than we think it is. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I really think we can overwhelm the voter fraud. And I think that I know that the Trump campaign people and the DeSantis campaign people are starting to realize this, and so they're going to engage in what are legal tactics, like voter harvesting, which have only been done on one side of the aisle. They're going to start doing funding initiatives into the inner cities like Democrats do to just turn out as many blue votes as they possibly can. The Republicans haven't even been on that playing field. Now they're going to think about funding in those areas. So I think there's still hopes, even with our corrupt voting system, to still get victories. But the issue is going to be getting the Republican to understand what the biggest problem is going to be in the 2024 elections. And actually, I can show you on the screen right here. Here's the problem that they're going to have, because until they address what goes on at 3 o'clock in the morning in Michigan, and 3 o'clock in the morning in Pennsylvania, and 3 o'clock in the morning in Phoenix, and 3 o'clock in the morning in Georgia, I see no path to victory for Republicans. I mean, you can go ahead and put these on there. You can even go and give them to that if you want. I don't see any path to victory forward until they address what happens in Detroit, Michigan, what happens in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, what happens in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, what happens in Atlanta, Georgia, and Phoenix, Arizona at 3 o'clock in the freaking morning to give Joe Biden 300,000 votes. Shouldn't be that hard. Shouldn't be that hard. And again, all of these things are starting to be understood by we the people, and even by members of Congress and people involved in the Republican Party. And if we can get these McRhinos, McCarthy, McConnell, McDaniel out of the way, I think that the Republican Party has a chance to really actually save this country. So still vote, even if you don't think it counts, even if you think the whole thing is corrupt, you should still vote to show faith in the practice. We don't want to destroy the system, and it's going to matter if you do want to get involved. Local officials from the Republican or even the Democrat Party, they're going to find out, do you vote or do you not? So I still say you should vote, even though you might think it doesn't count at all.
Owen, I gotta second that too, and I want to tell everybody I feel the same way. Obviously, people have lost hope in voting. However, do you want to put them in a position where they no longer have to cheat? Now, we catch them cheating all the time, and we don't see much going on with them actually getting in trouble. But if they get to a position where they never even have to cheat, we can't catch them cheating. The idea is to make it hard for them, force their hand to make them cheat. One day they're going to slip up. One day the right, judicial system or the right judge is going to be there, and we're going to get victory. We're going to pull that thread and we're going to unwind it. So I would say we absolutely must vote. One more question from Steve.
Thank you. Thank you for putting this on. I have a lifetime thing of questioning narratives, and just want to address the question. All right, well, here we go. It's like we're here in America. We have a narrative of history. The founding fathers came here and had a bunch of great ideals. one thing that seemed to escape notice is that those ideals were lifted from the Iroquois conference. I do believe there were 7 tribes involved. Yeah, okay. And so there's that aspect of it. And I think there was something about changing one word. And we're going on about reclaiming our freedom. And it's very hard to, I feel this in my heart, that we are standing on ground that has been stolen. And I don't see many Native or Black people here. And somehow or another, I'm just feeling like we need to have this be a fully inclusive conversation. And anyway, I'm just gonna leave it at that, I think, for now. I'm appealing to everybody's hearts to really get real. Thank you.
Do you want to respond, Owen?
Well, sure. I think the message of freedom and prosperity is universal. I don't think it has anything to do with your skin color. I don't think it has anything to do with your background. You can get into the history of the world forever. I don't know what the number is, but it was once claimed that I think like half the people on the planet were descendants of Genghis Khan or something. So does that mean we're all guilty because Genghis Khan was a murdering rapist? The idea here is that the revolutionary idea that you don't need government to control your life is what we're trying to preserve. And so again, if you want to start getting into who stole land from who and who did this to who and who did what to what, well, I think you're just getting lost in the message, and now you're looking for new ways to govern yourself out of those situations instead of just saying no, government is not the answer. So, but I don't believe I've ever seen anything, let's say, non-inclusive or unopen to any individual of any background into this movement to preserve freedom in the West. So I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah, and if you know, Nick Natoli was here, and he is a quote-unquote person of color, and a lot of the people that are in our movement are Black. Chinese, Jewish people, people from Israel, all people all around the world. And we're just talking about the Iroquois Nation and the Confederacy and the whole thing, and I was like, oh no, that didn't happen. The point of the matter is these are sins of the fathers that we are not necessarily a part of. I'm an Irish immigrant. I never was part of any of this slavery thing. My people were from literal potato eaters. We were being oppressed by governing bodies from Europe and these bloodlines, like many of us are. And we all know that the Indian tribes were not completely innocent of doing their own warfare and taking over other people's lands. Look at the people down in South America. You think these giant pyramids got built by everybody kumbayaing together? There was a certain warlords there too. In fact, in human history, if you can't fight, if you don't have a warrior class, you're a slave class. But we definitely hear you, and we hereby invite everyone to come. Seriously, love everyone. And next question here.
Hi. I'm not Jewish, or I don't know if I'm Jewish or Armenian, or I could be Khazarian, I wouldn't know. But because my father was adopted, and I never looked into my bloodline. But I don't think it matters what race we are. It matters if we're right or if we're wrong. And I really do feel like that race. That we're all. There's only one race, and that's the human race. Thank you. And I also wanted to address the political situation. I do not believe there isn't a political means to an end here. However, I believe there's a monetary means to an end, because I believe that the bank owners, the monetary, the people that make the money control whether you can have it or not. or if you can spend it, where you can spend it or not. They sanction everything. They don't have. This is not. This is a little bit over red pilled. I think this is a black pill. Really. Sorry to anyone who is sensitive to this, but if they own the money, they own you. They own you. If you own the money, you own you. Think about it like this: Monero, Dero, Pirate Chain, silver and gold are the silver bullet to this werewolf. 100%.
Gold and silver.
They starve overnight. 99% of us become the 1%ers now. Roles change. Got it? We own our own bank. We own the same bank. Monero. I own a node to that bank. You own a node to your bank. I'm sorry, we're crushed for time. So I wanted to know, and I didn't want to be, put into a. I heard you just a second ago. You were saying that voting is you don't people that are Democrats or lefties, they don't want for you to vote. And I have to disagree there. A lot of us are black-pilled. Some of us are libertarians. We're not left and we're not right. We want to be right and not wrong. What do you say about that?
So,
well, there's a bit of a question. Yeah, but let me respond. I would say first off, let me give two analogies here. One, how many times have we heard stories of, let's say it's a young newborn baby and they're told 0% chance they'll live past 2 months and they're still alive at 50 years old. Maybe they did something to change the world. Maybe you have a friend or family member, they got diagnosed with a terminal illness, they said dead in a month, dead in a week, whatever. Survived that, got over it, still living. So you don't give up when you're told you're dead. You don't give up when you say, when you believe it's over. You still have faith and you still fight because it's worth it. I don't know if this would make sense to you, and I forget what you said that made me think of this, but I remember there was a big, beautiful house in an area where I was growing up in St. Louis. There was a famous architect that built it. It was part of the Underground Railroad. It was a historic site. And a family that lived there, one of the family members committed suicide in the house. So do you tear down the house then? Do you tear down the house and do you say, well, this house is it's too tainted, we have to tear this house down? Now it's a big, beautiful house, it houses many families, part of a historic thing in our country, so do you just tear down the house because that happens? Some people might say, yeah, you know what, I don't want to be in this house, nobody's going to be in this house, just completely tear it down. And so I kind of look at that's how our maybe the situation you're getting into with our financial situation. The financial situation is so corrupt worldwide that, yeah, you want to try to get to the central bankers and understand how it all works. It's so convoluted, it's so rigged. Of course, nobody denies that. So, you want to talk about Bitcoin and stuff like that. That could be an answer. I think we're so far away from that solving anything. I think we're so far away from that it's just not really worth pursuing that as the first thing to try to save the country, if that makes sense. I think that we can have a peaceful revolution and start to get our government off our backs and get it back to where it's supposed to be. And then once we have that, maybe we can start dealing with some of these larger issues. But I would say when it comes to the currency, what we have to be really concerned about is the central bank digital currency. That's when it's over. We still have some financial freedom. We still have a little control over our currencies. I understand where you're coming from, the black bill, believe me. But if the central bank digital currency, that's the final one. Then they can really turn it on, turn it off. At that point, there will be no opportunity for we the people to decide if we want to use cash or not. It'll all be on the grid, and they'll turn it on or turn it off depending on what your social credit score is. So that's the real concern I have with the financial system. Obviously, all the fraud and everything that we have now can't exist forever. We still have it better here than probably most of the planet, if not the rest of the planet. But when they bring in the central bank digital currency, that's when you're going to have to really be concerned, and that's when we're going to have to be ready to either survive without it or have enough people aware of what it's going to do to completely reject it.
Thanks, Owen. We're really appreciative all the time you spent with us getting the call that we're running very short on time. We're going to have one last comment. Go ahead.
Owen, this is Matt from former St. Louis, Missouri native. What's up, brother? And just wanted to say, appreciate you very much. And the question for you to end this is, when is InfoWars going to become a 24-hour newscasting site?
All right, buy products. let me tell you a story first. When I got hired and joined InfoWars in 2016, there were people that were naysayers. Because I'm a dreamer, I'm a visionary. And I talked to some of the people that had been there for a while on the technical side, producer side, and I remember I sat down with them and I said, you know what this means? Because they were like, yeah, we're gonna hire you. And I was like, well, you know what this means? They're like, what? I was like, we're going 24 hours a day. It's like, you know what this means, right? It's like, we're going 24 hours a day. I'm starting a show, we're starting new shows, we're going 24 hours a day. And so they were like, never gonna happen, can't happen, you're never gonna do it, Shroyer, not gonna be possible. I said, you watch. I got that done in less than 2 years. Now, obviously, since then, we've had the massive censorship against us, we've had all the massive lawsuits against us. It's back in the news today. The headlines you can find is like New York Times, what's up, Sandy Hook families demand, I think it's like $400 million more from Alex Jones. So it just never stops. And I mean, to answer the question, when or if InfoWars ever goes to 24 hours, it's really, I know it sounds cliche, but it really is up to the audience at the end of the day. And it's not easy, folks. It's not like, I'm not sitting here saying, oh geez, all they gotta do is buy stuff and give us money and we can just do it overnight. No, it's not that easy. It's a process, it takes time. You gotta have the right talent in place, you gotta have the right workers there as well. The crew we have right now, folks, is already working like, I'm not kidding you, like 10, 12 hours a day. I mean, these people never even leave the office. They work so hard, they do so many different things. I've been all over media, nobody works like our crew. And obviously people see how often Alex Jones is out there, myself is out there. So, you know, I'd love to see InfoWars go 24 hours, but also part of me is like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to be on for 12 hours a day if that happens. So I don't really know if I'm gonna try to volunteer to do that right now. But really, we've come such a far way. I don't even think we're supposed to be on air still at this point. We're still on air, cranking every day. We still got the support. So it's really in God's hands. It's really in the audience hands. It's all magical. It's all a blessing. It's the leader of the rebels with a cause. And it's been such an incredible experience and such an honor, if you will, to provide my service in the InfoWars. So we're gonna scratch and claw. And you know, they're gonna have to probably come into the studio and literally physically shut us down.
Yay.
Thank you. And I want to make just one quick correction. It's Rebels for a Cause. Rebels for a Cause, yeah. And the cause stands for Creative Artists Uniting for the Sovereignty of Everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, that's definitely a big round of applause.
Yay. Now I really have to put you guys